The champagne bubbles catch the light like tiny stars. Ethan Carter watches his wife raise her glass, and he knows what's coming before she speaks. He's been counting down to this moment for 3 days. 72 hours of rehearsing his smile in bathroom mirrors, practicing the exact angle of surprise that won't look forced. "I have something to tell you all," Lena says. Her voice carries across the private dining room. 20 guests, family, friends, co-workers, turn toward her. The restaurant dims its overhead lights. Someone's phone camera flashes. "I'm pregnant." The room erupts. Applause. Gasps. Lena's mother starts crying. Her sister rushes forward with arms wide. Ethan stands and moves to his wife like he's supposed to. He wraps his arms around her waist. He kisses her cheek. He feels her heart beating against his chest. His hands are shaking. No one notices. He's gotten very good at hiding. 3 nights earlier, Ethan had been sitting in his car outside the Belmont Hotel downtown. Engine off. Windows cracked. He told himself he was being paranoid. That the late meetings Lena kept mentioning were exactly what she said they were. Client dinners, networking events, the demands of her PR job. But the phone bill didn't lie. 214 texts to Marcus Webb in the last month alone. Marcus. His best friend since college, the guy who'd been best man at their wedding, who came over for Sunday barbecues and fantasy football drafts. Ethan had memorized the pattern. Tuesday and Thursday nights, Lena said she had work obligations. Tuesday and Thursday nights, Marcus posted Instagram stories from bars and restaurants, always downtown, always vague about the company. So Ethan waited. At 9:47 p.m., the hotel's glass doors opened. Lena stepped out first, black dress, hair down, laughing at something over her shoulder. Then Marcus appeared beside her, his hand, casual, comfortable, possessive, resting on her lower back as they moved toward the parking garage. Ethan didn't move. He didn't honk the horn or throw open his door or shout across the street. He sat there watching his wife disappear into the shadows with his best friend, and something inside him went very quiet. He drove home. He climbed into bed beside Lena 2 hours later when she returned, smelling like wine and expensive cologne that wasn't his. "How was the client dinner?" he asked in the dark. "Exhausting," she whispered, "but productive." Ethan stared at the ceiling and began to count. Now, standing in the restaurant with champagne-drunk guests surrounding them, Ethan does the math again. They'd been trying for a baby for 6 months, tracking cycles, scheduling intimacy like business meetings. But the last time they'd actually been together, really together, was 8 weeks ago. Maybe 9. Lena's announcement says she's 10 weeks along. The numbers don't add up, but Ethan smiles anyway. He accepts hugs from strangers. He orders another bottle of champagne he won't drink. He poses for photos that will be posted online within minutes, proving to the world that Ethan and Lena Carter are living the dream. When they get home that night, Lena disappears into the bathroom for 20 minutes. Ethan sits on the edge of their bed, 10th anniversary card still unopened on the nightstand, and opens his phone. He creates a new folder, labels it Evidence. The first photo he saves is a screenshot of their shared bank account, the checking account they'd opened together 5 years ago for house savings, for the future they were supposed to be building. $3,000 withdrawn last Tuesday, $1,500 the Thursday before that, all labeled medical, personal. Ethan closes his eyes. Then he starts scrolling through old texts, old photos, old receipts. He starts building a timeline. Because if there's one thing his job as a financial analyst taught him, it's that numbers always tell a story. And this story is about to get very interesting. The next morning, Ethan wakes up to Lena singing in the shower. She's happy, glowing. She emerges wrapped in a towel, hair dripping, and crawls back into bed beside him. "We need to start thinking about nursery colors," she says, "and names." Oh my God, Ethan, we need to make so many lists. He turns toward her. When's your first prenatal appointment? Her smile doesn't falter, but something flickers behind her eyes. Next week, probably. I'll call today. I want to come with you. Of course. She kisses his forehead. You're going to be such a good dad. Ethan watches her get dressed, watches her check her phone 3 times in 5 minutes, watches her text someone, the phone angled away from him, and then delete the message thread. Who was that? He asks. Just work, Lena says without looking up. He lets it go. For now. At the office that afternoon, Ethan sits in his cubicle and makes a list of his own. He writes down every late night, every unexplained charge, every time Marcus happened to be in the neighborhood when Lena needed a ride or wanted to grab coffee. His co-worker Dana stops by his desk with a box of donuts. Congrats on the baby news, man. Saw the photos online. You guys look so happy. Thanks, Ethan says. He doesn't tell her that happiness is just good lighting and the right filter. That night, Ethan suggests they take a DNA test. They're eating takeout Thai food on the couch, some home renovation show playing in the background when he brings it up. Casual. Light. I was reading about those prenatal DNA tests, he says. The ones that can check for genetic disorders early. Seems like a smart move. Lena's fork stops halfway to her mouth. Why would we need that? Peace of mind, Ethan says. He keeps his eyes on the TV. My cousin's kid had that heart condition, remember? I just want to make sure we're prepared for anything. Lena sets down her plate. That's not how those tests work, Ethan. There are other tests that do similar things. We could... No. The word lands like a door slamming. Ethan finally looks at her. No? I'm not pumping our baby full of unnecessary medical procedures because you're suddenly paranoid. Her voice has an edge now. Sharp, defensive. Do you not trust me? That's not what I said. It's what you're implying. Lena stands up. I can't believe you'd even suggest this. We just announced the pregnancy, Ethan. We're supposed to be celebrating. I just thought... You thought what? That I'm lying? That this isn't your baby? The room goes very still. Ethan doesn't answer. Lena's face shifts from anger to something harder, colder. You're being insecure and ungrateful, and honestly, it's insulting. She walks out of the room. Ethan sits alone on the couch, TV flickering, and realizes something important. She didn't say yes. She didn't explain. She just got angry. And in his experience, innocent people don't react like that. He picks up his phone, opens a new browser window. Types, private investigators near me. Before we continue with Ethan's story, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Drop your city in the comments below. I want to know where you're watching from, and if you've ever had to choose between confronting the truth or living in a comfortable lie. Let me know. Because Ethan's about to make a choice that changes everything. The private investigator's office sits above a dry cleaner on the south side of Chicago. Ethan climbs the narrow stairs 2 days later, smelling detergent and lint, and knocks on a frosted glass door. The man who answers is younger than Ethan expected, maybe 35, clean-cut, professional. Mr. Carter? Ethan nods. Come in. The office is small but organized. 2 chairs, a desk, a laptop, a wall of filing cabinets that probably hold 1,000 secrets that aren't his. Tell me what you need, the investigator says. His name is Reese. No last name offered. Ethan hands over a folder. Inside, printed bank statements, phone records he'd requested from their carrier citing account review, screenshots of Marcus's social media tagged locations cross-referenced with Lena's work calendar. My wife is pregnant, Ethan says quietly. I don't think it's mine, and I think she's been planning something. Reese flips through the pages, doesn't react, doesn't judge. What do you want me to find? Everything, Reese looks up. That's a broad request. Then narrow it down for me. I want to know where she goes, who she sees, what she's hiding. Ethan leans forward. And I want to know what Marcus Webb is helping her do. Reese writes down the name. This might get expensive. I don't care. And if I find something you don't want to see, Ethan's jaw tightens. Then I'll deal with it. Reese nods once. I'll start tomorrow. Ethan pays the retainer in cash. Then he goes home and kisses his wife goodnight like nothing has changed. Reese calls 4 days later. Ethan is at work when his phone buzzes. He steps into the stairwell, door clicking shut behind him, and answers on the second ring. You were right, Reese says. No preamble, no small talk. They meet every Tuesday and Thursday, sometimes Wednesdays, always downtown, always hotels or restaurants with private rooms. Ethan's grip tightens on the phone. Have you seen them together? Define together. You know what I mean. Reese is quiet for a moment. I have photos. Body language that suggests intimacy, but nothing explicit. They're careful in public. What else? Your wife met with a lawyer 3 weeks ago. Family law specialist. Spent 90 minutes in her office. The stairwell suddenly feels too small. A divorce lawyer? That would be my guess. Reese's voice stays even, professional, like he's reading a grocery list. There's more. Marcus Webb has been meeting with your wife and someone else, a financial advisor, guy named Kenneth Proust, works out of a boutique firm in the Loop. Ethan's brain starts connecting dots. Financial advisor. They've met twice in the last month, once at Marcus's office, once at a coffee shop near your house. My house? 2 blocks away. Your wife walked there. Didn't drive. Ethan closes his eyes, sees Lena leaving on a Tuesday afternoon 3 weeks ago, claiming she needed to clear her head. She'd been gone for 2 hours. What are they planning? He asks. That's what you're paying me to find out. Reese pauses. But, Mr. Carter, in my experience, when someone's pregnant wife is meeting with divorce lawyers and financial advisors while having an affair, she's not planning a surprise party. Ethan hangs up. He stands in the stairwell for 5 minutes, staring at nothing, before returning to his desk. That night, Lena makes dinner. Pasta carbonara, Ethan's favorite. She's humming while she cooks. She's wearing the blue sundress he bought her last summer. Her hair is pulled back in a messy bun. She looks like the woman he married 10 years ago, like someone who isn't actively destroying his life. How was work? She asks. Fine. Ethan sits at the kitchen table. Busy. Marcus called today. She says it casually, stirs the pasta, doesn't look at him. He wants to know if we're free for dinner this weekend. Maybe celebrate the baby news properly. Ethan's jaw clenches. Sure. Really? Lena turns, surprised. I thought you'd been weird about Marcus lately. Why would I be weird about Marcus? She shrugs. I don't know. You've seemed distant when he comes up in conversation. Ethan meets her eyes. Maybe I've just been tired. Lena smiles, walks over and kisses the top of his head. Well, rest up. We have a lot to plan for. She sets a plate in front of him. Perfect pasta, perfect smile, perfect lie. Ethan eats in silence. The next morning, he calls the bank. He speaks to a manager named Patricia who sounds tired and overworked. He explains that he needs to review some account activity. Joint account, shared access, just wants to make sure everything's secure. Patricia pulls up the records. What dates are you looking at? Last 3 months. Keys clicking. Okay, I'm seeing standard activity. Groceries, utilities, some restaurants. There's a few larger withdrawals. Do you want me to? Yes. More clicking. Looks like medical expenses. Therapy sessions, maybe. All labeled personal health. How much total? In the last 3 months? About $12,000? Ethan's hand goes numb. 12,000. Yes, sir. Is there a problem? No, he lies. Just reviewing, thank you. He hangs up. $12,000. He opens his laptop, logs into their shared accounts, the ones Lena doesn't know he's been monitoring daily. He creates a new spreadsheet, tracks every withdrawal over $500 in the last 6 months. The pattern is clear. Money disappearing every week. Always on days Lena claims she's working late or meeting clients. Always labeled vaguely, medical, personal, emergency. Ethan sits back in his chair. She's not just having an affair. She's liquidating their marriage. That afternoon, Ethan does something he's never done before. He leaves work early, tells his boss he has a doctor's appointment. He doesn't. Instead, he drives to the address Reese gave him, Kenneth Proust's financial firm, a sleek glass building downtown with abstract art in the lobby and receptionists who look like they stepped out of fashion magazines. Ethan parks across the street. He waits. At 3:30 p.m., Marcus's car pulls up, silver Audi, vanity plate that says WEBB1. Marcus steps out in a suit that probably costs more than Ethan's monthly rent, checks his phone, straightens his tie. Then Lena arrives. She's in work clothes, blazer and slacks, hair professional. She doesn't see Ethan's car. She walks straight to Marcus and they embrace. Not a hug, an embrace. His hand on her waist, her fingers on his chest. They walk inside together. Ethan takes photos, then he calls Reese. "I need you to find out what's in that building," Ethan says. "I need to know what they're signing, what they're planning." "That's going to be difficult without a subpoena." "Then get creative." Reese sighs. "I'll see what I can do." Ethan sits in his car for another hour, watching, waiting. When Lena and Marcus finally emerge, they're laughing. She touches his arm. He opens her car door. They don't kiss, but they don't have to. Everything about their body language screams intimacy. Ethan drives home and opens a bottle of whiskey he's been saving for a special occasion. He pours 3 fingers into a glass and doesn't bother with ice. His phone buzzes. Text from Lena. "Running late. Don't wait up." He texts back. "No problem. Love you." She sends a heart emoji. Ethan finishes his drink and pours another. 2 days later, Reese sends an email. No phone call this time. Just an attachment labeled urgent. Ethan opens it at his desk. His hands are steady now. He's past the shaking stage, past the denial. He's in the cold, calculating space where revenge lives. The document is a scanned copy of property paperwork. Their house. The one they bought together 7 years ago. The one Ethan put $50,000 down on from his inheritance when his father died. Lena had filed a claim of sole ownership. She'd forged his signature on a quitclaim deed. The house, legally on paper, now belonged entirely to her. Ethan reads the document 3 times. Then he forwards it to his own lawyer, a guy named Simon Marquez who specializes in family law and has a reputation for being ruthless. Simon calls within 20 minutes. "Where did you get this?" "Does it matter?" "It might. In court." Simon's voice is sharp, clinical. "But before we worry about that, you need to understand what you're looking at. Your wife has been systematically removing your name from shared assets. This house, probably bank accounts, maybe more. Can she do that? Not legally, not without your knowledge. But if she's planning to file for divorce and claim you abandoned her while she was pregnant, documents like this make her case stronger, especially if you don't fight back." Ethan leans back in his chair, stares at the ceiling tiles, counts the water stains. "What do I do?" "You move first," Simon says. "Before she does, you secure your assets, you document everything, and you do not, under any circumstances, let her know you're aware of what's happening." "What if she files first?" "Then you're playing defense, and defense in divorce court is expensive, slow, painful." Simon pauses. "But if you file first, you control the narrative." Ethan closes his eyes. "I need more evidence." "Then get it, but move fast. If she's already forged documents, she's close to pulling the trigger." Ethan hangs up. He sits at his desk for a long time, listening to the hum of fluorescent lights and distant phone calls. Then he opens a new document on his computer. He titles it Timeline, and he starts writing down everything. Every date, every lie, every hotel visit, every withdrawal, every moment he should have seen the truth but chose to believe the woman he married. When he finishes, the document is 11 pages long. He saves it, encrypts it, backs it up to 3 different cloud services. Then he goes home and kisses his wife like he always does. "Good day?" Lena asks. She's making tea. Decaf now because of the pregnancy. "Long," Ethan says, "but productive." She smiles. "I have news. I scheduled the first ultrasound. 2 weeks from today, 10 a.m. I'll take the morning off." "Really?" She seems genuinely touched. That would mean a lot. Ethan nods, walks upstairs, closes the bedroom door. He texts Reese, "I need a DNA test. Private. How do I get one without her knowing?" The response comes 30 seconds later. "I know a guy, but you'll need a sample from the baby after birth. Or from her now. Hair, saliva, something with DNA." Ethan looks at the bathroom, at Lena's hairbrush sitting on the counter. He texts back, "How soon can you run it?" "Tomorrow, if you get me the sample tonight." Ethan waits until Lena falls asleep. Then he goes into the bathroom, pulls 3 strands of hair from her brush, and seals them in a plastic bag. The next morning, he meets Reese in a parking lot, hands over the bag. "How long?" Ethan asks. "Week, maybe less." Reese pockets the sample. "You sure you want to know?" Ethan doesn't hesitate. "Yes." He drives to work. He sits through meetings and conference calls and pretends his world isn't collapsing. And when Lena texts him at lunch, "Miss you already," he texts back a heart. Because he's learned something important. Liars aren't the only ones who can wear masks. The DNA results arrive on a Thursday. Ethan is sitting in his car outside a grocery store when his phone buzzes. Email from Reese. Subject line, confirmation. He doesn't open it right away. He sits there watching people push shopping carts through the parking lot. Mothers with toddlers, elderly couples moving slowly, teenagers laughing about something on their phones, normal people living normal lives. Ethan opens the email. The report is clinical, sterile, numbers and percentages and scientific language that all points to one conclusion. The baby Lena is carrying shares 0 genetic markers with Ethan Carter. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. He reads it twice. Then he forwards it to Simon Marquez with a single line. "We need to talk." Simon calls immediately. "When do you want to file?" "Not yet." "Ethan, if you wait..." "I'm not waiting. I'm planning." Ethan's voice is calm, cold. "She's hosting a baby shower in 3 weeks, early because she claims she wants to celebrate before she gets too uncomfortable. Her family will be there, friends, co-workers. And Marcus will be there too, playing the supportive best friend, the future godfather." Ethan pauses. "I want them all to see the truth at once." Simon is quiet for a long moment. "That's not how I usually advise clients to handle these situations. I'm not asking for advice on how to handle it quietly." "What exactly are you planning?" Ethan looks at the DNA report on his phone, at the numbers that prove his wife has been lying for months, at the evidence of betrayal so complete it rewrote his entire future without his consent. "I'm planning to tell the truth," he says, "publicly." Simon sighs. "Just make sure you document everything. And for God's sake, don't do anything that could be used against you in court." "I won't." "Ethan, I promise, no yelling, no violence, just facts." He hangs up before Simon can argue further. That night, Lena shows him paint samples for the nursery. Soft yellows and greens. Gender neutral, she explains, because they've decided not to find out the sex early. She wants it to be a surprise. Ethan nods along, pretends to care about accent walls and crib placement. What do you think? Lena holds up two nearly identical shades of mint green. Either one is fine, she frowns. You're not even looking. I'm looking. He forces focus onto the paint chips. Left one, it's warmer. Lena beams. That's what I thought too. She kisses his cheek. Her hand rests on her stomach. The bump is visible now. Real. A life growing inside her that has nothing to do with him. Ethan excuses himself and goes to the garage. He opens his laptop, pulls up the folder labeled Evidence. It's grown significantly in the past 2 weeks. Bank statements showing $73,000 transferred from joint accounts into a new account under only Lena's name. Photos of Lena and Marcus entering the Belmont Hotel on 4 separate occasions. Screenshots of text messages Reese managed to obtain through methods Ethan didn't ask about. Messages where Lena and Marcus discuss the plan and when to tell him, and making sure everything's locked down first. Email exchanges with Kenneth Proust outlining asset protection strategies and divorce settlement projections, the forged property deed, and now, the DNA results. Ethan creates a presentation. He's built hundreds of them for work. Financial reports, quarterly reviews, this is no different. Except instead of profit margins, he's charting lies. Instead of growth projections, he's documenting betrayal. He finishes at 2 a.m., saves the file, tests it twice to make sure every image loads correctly. Every piece of evidence displays clearly. Then he goes inside and climbs into bed beside his wife. She stirs, mumbles something, rolls toward him. "Love you," she whispers, half asleep. Ethan stares at the ceiling. "Love you too." The baby shower is on a Saturday afternoon. Lena's sister hosts it at her house. A beautiful suburban home with a backyard perfect for gatherings. White tents, catered food, balloons in silver and white because Lena wanted it elegant. Ethan arrives early to help set up. Marcus is already there. Of course he is. "Ethan!" Marcus grins, walks over with arms wide. They embrace, brothers, best friends. Marcus claps him on the back. "Big day, man. How you feeling?" "Excited," Ethan lies. "Fatherhood. Can't believe it." Marcus shakes his head. "Feels like yesterday we were in college getting drunk and talking about how we'd never settle down." Things change. They do. Marcus looks toward the house where Lena is laughing with her mother. "You got lucky with her. You know that, right?" Ethan meets his eyes. "I know exactly what I have." Guests start arriving at noon. Lena's parents, her sister and brother, college friends, work colleagues, people Ethan recognizes from Christmas cards and Facebook posts, but barely knows in real life. They bring gifts wrapped in pastel paper. They hug Lena and tell her she's glowing. They congratulate Ethan with handshakes and shoulder pats. Everyone is so happy. The games start first, ridiculous baby shower games that make people laugh, guessing baby food flavors, measuring Lena's belly with toilet paper, a contest to see who can chug apple juice from a baby bottle fastest. Marcus wins. Everyone cheers. Then comes the food, catered sandwiches and salads and a cake shaped like a stork. Lena cuts the first piece and feeds Marcus a bite, a joke. The future godfather getting first taste. Everyone laughs. Ethan watches from the edge of the yard, plate in hand, and waits. At 3 p.m., Lena's sister announces it's time for speeches. She hands Lena a microphone. Lena stands in the center of the tent, glowing in a white dress, and thanks everyone for coming. She talks about how blessed she feels, how lucky, how this baby is a dream come true. And I couldn't have done this without my amazing husband. She looks at Ethan, smiles. "Ethan, come here." Ethan sets down his plate. He walks to the center of the tent. Lena takes his hand. 10 years of marriage, and now we're starting the next chapter. I can't wait to see what kind of father you'll be. Applause fills the backyard. Ethan takes the microphone from her hand. "Thank you," he says. His voice is steady. "I actually have something I'd like to share with everyone. If that's okay." Lena looks confused but nods. Of course. Ethan pulls out his phone. I put together a little presentation. Just some thoughts on fatherhood, on trust, on partnership. He walks to the TV mounted on the patio wall. Lena's sister had set it up earlier for a slideshow of baby photos. Ethan connects his phone. The screen mirrors. This won't take long, he says. The first slide appears. It's a photo of Lena and Marcus, entering the Belmont Hotel, his hand on her back, her leaning into him. Timestamp. 6 weeks ago. The backyard goes quiet. What is this? Lena's voice is small, confused. Ethan advances to the next slide. Another photo, different date, same hotel. These are pictures from the last 2 months, Ethan says calmly. My wife, my best friend. 17 separate meetings at hotels and restaurants across Chicago. Lena's face drains of color. Ethan, stop! He advances again. Bank statements appear on screen. $73,000, Ethan continues. Transferred from our joint accounts into a private account I wasn't aware existed. All done without my knowledge or consent. Lena's mother stands up. What is happening? Wait. Ethan holds up a hand. There's more. Next slide. The forged property deed. Our house. The one I put $50,000 down on. My wife filed paperwork claiming sole ownership. Forged my signature. He zooms in on the signature line. That's not my handwriting. Marcus finally speaks. Ethan, man, let's talk about this privately. No. Ethan's voice cuts through the yard like a blade. We're done with private. We're done with secrets. He advances to the final slide. DNA results. The scientific language is dense, but Ethan has highlighted the important part in red. Probability of paternity, 0%. Someone gasps. Lena starts crying. You tested me without my consent? You violated... I violated nothing. Ethan's voice stays level. I tested hair from a brush, which is legal, which is smart, because the baby you're carrying, the one we're all celebrating today, isn't mine. The silence is absolute. Marcus takes a step forward. Stops. His face is pale. Lena's sister drops a plate. It shatters on the concrete. Ethan, please, Lena whispers. Not like this. Then how? He turns to face her fully. How should I have done this, Lena? Should I have waited until the baby was born? Until you filed for divorce and took everything? Until you painted me as the unstable husband who abandoned his pregnant wife? She doesn't answer. Ethan looks at Marcus. I reported you to your company yesterday. Sent them evidence of financial fraud tied to personal misconduct. By Monday, you won't have a job. Marcus's jaw clenches. You son of a... Careful, Ethan says quietly. We're at a baby shower. Stay classy. He disconnects his phone from the TV. The screen goes black. I filed for divorce 3 weeks ago, Ethan says to the crowd, to everyone staring at him with shock and pity and confusion. The papers will be served Monday morning. This house, our assets, everything, it's all being contested, and I have documentation for every single lie. He looks at Lena one last time. She's sobbing now, mascara running, hands shaking, the perfect image shattered. Congratulations on the baby, Ethan says. Then he walks out of the backyard. Behind him, chaos erupts, voices shouting, Lena's mother demanding explanations. Someone calling after Ethan to wait. He doesn't stop. He gets in his car and drives away. 6 months later, Ethan sits in his new apartment across town. It's smaller than the house. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, large windows that let in afternoon light. His phone buzzes. Text from Simon Marquez. Settlement finalized. House sale closes next week. She keeps pregnancy expenses. You keep retirement accounts and investment portfolio. Clean split. It's done. Ethan reads the message twice. Then he opens his desk drawer. The anniversary ring sits inside, still in its box. He'd been going to give it to Lena that night at the restaurant. Before she announced the pregnancy. Before everything. He picks it up. Feels the weight of it. Then he puts it back and closes the drawer. His laptop is open on the coffee table. Article about Marcus Webb losing his position at the firm. Something about ethical violations and misuse of client relationships. The article doesn't mention Ethan or Lena. It doesn't have to. Ethan closes the laptop. He looks around his apartment, at the clean, empty space, at the life he's rebuilding from scratch. No photos on the walls yet, no decorations, just furniture and silence and the freedom of knowing exactly where he stands. His phone buzzes again. Different number. He doesn't recognize it. Then he does. Lena. The message is long, apologetic, explaining that Marcus left town, that the baby was born, a girl, but she's struggling, that she made mistakes, that she's sorry, that maybe someday they could talk. Ethan reads it once. Then he deletes it. He stands and walks to the window, looks out at the Chicago skyline, at the city that held his old life and now holds his new one. He doesn't feel angry anymore. He doesn't feel sad. He feels free, because revenge isn't always loud. It isn't always violent or dramatic or cinematic. Sometimes revenge is just the patient, methodical act of refusing to be a victim. Sometimes it's choosing truth over comfort. And sometimes it's simply walking away from people who never deserved you in the first place. Ethan Carter picks up his phone one more time. He doesn't call anyone, doesn't text, doesn't post anything online. He just blocks Lena's new number. Then he goes to make dinner in his quiet apartment, where no one is lying, no one is cheating, and the only person he has to trust is himself. And for the first time in months, he smiles. Not because he won, but because he finally stopped playing a game he never agreed to. The truth didn't just set him free. It gave him his life back. And that, he realizes, is the best revenge of all. If this hit you, don't be afraid to drop a comment. Comment where you are watching from if you don't know what to comment yet. And subscribe. See you on the next video, family.